Okay, go for
I'll
it.
call the meeting to order. This is a meeting of the Personnel Committee. It's 6 p.m. Wednesday, August 7th. And Kristen's here, and June's here, and Claire and Sue. Okay. And we're expecting Julie Lee, right?
Yes.
Still, okay, all right. I thought that, well, since she's not here yet, because I know she wanted to be on first so that she said she had to leave by later than 6. So I was going to do the minutes first. So I sent the minutes out for June 5th to the committee. What say you?
You are the committee.
I know.
Thank you.
Specific.
A motion to accept the minutes as written.
All right.
We really do need a third member.
I know.
So, because we're going to give each other a hard time. Anybody out there that wants to join us.
Right,
But they have to be able
exactly.
to put
If
up
you hear
with the
of
two of us.
anybody that.
It's a fun group, guys. Come join us.
So,
I don't know which camera.
any
know.
discussion?
No, they were.
And all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Claire and Sue, okay. All right. All right, the second item on the agenda is the review and discuss rec director and COA social services job descriptions and positions. And then a third one today came from Kristen on a energy manager / sustainability manager / energy and sustainability coordinator. I know.
It looked really cool, but it was a lot of work.
It's a lot.
Should we do PAFs until Julie Lee gets here? Is that
Sure.
Took the words out of my
Yeah,
mouth.
that's fine.
Yes.
That's fine.
I was going to recommend that because there are a fair few.
Okay, great.
All right. The first couple that we have are for the summer counselors at the recreation summer program counselors. There
Okay.
are 5 here at a rate of, oh, she's here, $15 an hour. So I'll pass those to you.
Okay.
And that is being funded using ARPA funding.
Okay.
There are how many?
Should be 5.
Okay.
Did I miscount?
No, you're right.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, am I missing a
didn't
paper?
hear- No, it was my fault. I heard 3 and then, no, okay.
Okay, great. And
Do you want to
me
approve
keep
this
going,
group?
or?
let me just see.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, Julie got a good response to her outreach.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it was great.
Oh, there's the other one. Okay. Yep. So I'll make a motion that we approve the 5 summer counselors for recreation.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Actually, we don't have to second, I guess, if there's only 2 of us.
I know. It's like we
According
need a
to the
third
rules, we just
person.
have to say.
I've never had a committee with only 2 people, so
I
if you
know.
may know more than me.
Well, like we said, I actually heard somebody else say that once. Okay.
Okay. And do we want to move on with the PAFs, or do we want Julie to come forward? That way she can get them.
Come
Yeah.
on, Julie.
Julie, why don't you come forward?
Great.
I brought copies.
Good, because I'm hot off the press and I
All
don't
right, not a problem. Can I ask you two to share them? Because I printed
Oh, yeah,
4.
totally.
Sorry.
No, here.
Oh, you
I
have one?
mine. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Well, as long as it's the same that you
It is,
sent us.
I made it up fit on 2 pages.
Okay,
No,
great.
as long as you.
I did not change anything. I made it look pretty, that's it. No offense. I didn't mean to say
No,
that.
no,
It
it's
looked
fine.
pretty.
I understand.
I was like, that
Big
came out
head.
wrong.
I get it. It's
I just
hot,
did some
okay?
formatting is what I meant to say.
No, that's perfect. I appreciate it.
Okay.
So tell us about the position.
Okay, so this is a part-time recreation committee director. In my opinion, long overdue. Just want to throw that out there. So what it is it's part-time. The position I believe was 10-4. Is that what I had written on there?
Mhm.
the functions are basically we're in a point now in this town where the community is looking for recreational programming and activities for all ages. I know sometimes people just think recreation is just kids, but we want to certainly hit the entire community. And to do that, we just the committee won't sustain itself if we don't have somebody on that's paid in some capacity. So what we had done is I had met with a director in another community who does have a full-time position over there, and she said, you're a small town, so you have to start small, right? Which I agreed, and then eventually our goal in this committee, and I still don't understand the difference between a committee and a department, but the goal is to make it be really self-sustaining, and the only way to do that is really to with the program feeds, with the registrations, and activities and events, right? But we need somebody on board that's going to be able to come up with the programs, meet with other rec directors locally, plan together, and then facilitate the events and programs. I know that I've been doing it for a long time as a volunteer, and I'm at my
We understand.
my point.
We understand.
Right?
Believe me.
It is. It's very hard, and this is such an important part of the community, the recreation side, that I just think that we need to move on this.
So, do we know where the funding's coming from for this?
Yes, it is in the FY25 budget.
Okay, all right.
And it is 10,400, just like you thought. And we put in 10 hours a week for right now.
So 10 hours a week, okay.
With the idea that hopefully it can, the position can start building programs that generate revenue, and then perhaps can become more self-sustaining, and if needed, add more hours using that income that comes in from the programming.
Yeah, good.
Right.
Okay.
I don't want to say it's ever going to be fully self-sustaining because you just don't know.
Right.
But hopefully, if more hours are needed, that revenue could come from additional, funds from the programming, and perhaps some of this as well.
There was a couple things that I noticed when I reviewed the job description. Did we add? So there were some things on the third page, or
I just took the spacing out.
so under recommended minimum qualifications on the second part of that, it starts on the top of the second page. Assess and monitor community needs. Should those items there go under essential functions of the job, or should those stay under ability?
That's a good question.
Ability or skill? Because we've got knowledge, we've got ability, and then we don't have skill. So I wasn't sure whether those should go under the essential functions, because they really are functions. Plan, develop, direct, and evaluate comprehensive programs. It's on the top of page 2.
Yeah, we're sharing.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
June.
So I just wasn't sure if that should be as essential
Good
functions or
teamwork,
not.
ladies.
Yeah.
I mean, they all make sense, and so I just,
Is it where it starts with assess and monitor community
Yes.
needs?
Yeah.
I think I would move those 6 bullets under essential functions.
okay, good. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
I did have 2 other suggestions too, but if you
And
have
then,
them.
Oh, I have
Then
all kinds of things.
Then under supervision, we want to add that they supervise the recreation staff and volunteers,
Yep.
right? Is that position going to be supervising the staff and volunteers?
It just says seasonal staff. I see where you are.
Yeah, I just put that under ability. I thought supervision was the rec committee director, who that person will report to for supervision.
So So it's,
That's how
it's
much
both,
that- okay,
actually.
perfect.
So
Yeah, and the only
yeah.
reason we know is because we've got other job descriptions
Okay.
here that we were looking
We're
at.
cheating.
Okay, okay. All right, then, yeah,
We
perfect.
really aren't that smart.
Right.
And
No need to recreate
so
the
those
wheel.
were the only two items that I had.
Okay. Does this person get an office? 'Cause I think they should. I just wanted that to be out there, because they need a central point somewhere. Just sorry, that's,
No,
that's your
I'm
sandbox, that's
thinking,
for you to,
let me work on that.
yeah, because this person needs an area. The other thing was, is there some way we could get this person to possibly work or at least communicate with COA with some of their activities, but also, I know this is Concom.
Hmm.
You know, Berlin, I know Pisgah, just because I live there, is listed in several of the bike
Mhm.
magazines as one of the top, areas for biking. And we have all this conservation land, and people
That's a great idea.
want to
Yeah.
use it. You know, and I think, I know that every once in a while Concom works a little more with, trails and seeing if they can get the trails better. But maybe this person could give it a little encouragement and motivation.
Mm.
Yeah.
And maybe one thing to add is like a collaborate with town departments, boards and committees, including the Council on Aging and Conservation Commission.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
make it a catch-all, but
Yeah.
call those out specifically.
Yeah, it does say
Also,
work
yeah.
with other departments.
Yep.
Uh,
It does, but I think maybe
Ah.
that
To
needs to
include
be,
those two.
to really kind of hone in on those
Yeah.
other two.
Yeah,
And then,
I agree.
just because I get the floor and I can get on the soapbox for a minute. I also have one other thing that because we did the COA and I was really in the mindset of numbers.
Yeah.
And if I've said this to you before, tell me to be quiet.
I would never.
Yes, yes. I go down to the things on Saturdays, the sporting events. I really wish that would get out more to the town, more publicity. I've sat at meetings and I've actually heard somebody say, well, why do they really need a director? If we don't have fields, why do they need a director?
right.
I don't think a lot of people know how much is really happening now.
Mhm.
Not that you're trying to do it, yes, you're trying to do more for the future, but I think there are people that don't know what's happening right now down there. Because you have a huge population
Well,
down there on Saturdays.
Not just there, it's like the other things that
Mm.
Julie also does. So
Right.
had somebody not told me about boot camp and had somebody not told me about other things, I never would have known. Because
No, I think
I'm
it
not a
needs to get-
Facebook, I don't do Facebook
Right.
or anything, so I don't see things on Facebook or
Mhm.
anything, so that would, I don't know if there's a,
We need some publicity so
Like even
people
on-
actually know what's happening.
Mhm.
yeah.
I mean, I kick
agree.
myself every day because I was down there for a T-ball game, and this older boy was there, all in his uniform, and helping little T-ball players
Mhm.
on how to go. And it was my grandson. I should have taken a picture so we could get it, because I know you can't put all the kids' faces on page.
Right, but you can put the little smiley face over it.
But we can put my grandson too.
Right. Oh, yeah.
But I missed that
I
opportunity.
agree. Mm-hmm.
But I really think it needs to get out
Mhm,
there, because I don't think anyone would believe the number of parents that
Yeah.
are down at those
Mhm.
silly little T-ball games,
Mhm.
and it's perfect.
Mhm.
But I think that people need to know that.
Yeah.
Could you add it to the bullet that shows something here about promotion?
Promotion, yeah.
Mhm.
So I'll say two things about that. One is that I think with the software that hopefully we are pushing through, it's just going to be rinse and repeat, and it's so user friendly. It's so easy to use for
good.
no matter what age group you
Yeah.
are. Also, it's being used in our neighboring communities, so people in neighboring communities are familiar with it too, which I think is great because it connects us more globally. But it's always been an issue since I've been here, communicating anything to
Yeah.
the community,
Yeah.
whether it's
Absolutely.
school related or the food pantry
Yeah.
or recreation or
Yeah.
town stuff. It doesn't.
Yeah.
It's just a struggle for this town because most things now are electronically done, but we have a large population of community members. That's that's not what they subscribe to, that's not how they live. So we have to be able to reach them
Yep.
also, right? So how do we do that, right? We need a think tank
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah.
Maybe cable needs to, yeah, we do. We need
That's
a
what
whole
we
group of people. Because cable,
Clinton Item's a good one. It just needs to be, where's the highest traffic
Or even the
for
Town
these
of
people?
Berlin website.
That
I
we're
don't
gonna
know
redo.
if
Yeah.
people use that a lot, but I know that I'll go on there and I look up things
Mhm.
on the Town of Berlin website to see if there's anything on there about a particular event or something that might be coming up.
When it's better, when,
Yeah,
then
yeah,
I think that we'll
So we can-
start to get more foot traffic
we'll
on
take
it
down
too.
some of the things that are
25 years
a
old.
month old and.
and that's the problem too, right? Somebody needs to be
Right.
on
Be on-
step
right.
to manage that, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Website
But I
should
agree with
probably
you.
be in
It's-
there
it-
too.
Just,
We find that in rec too. We get numbers of participants and we say, this is it? There's so many people. Why is it such a
Yeah.
small number? And I think that's a large part of it.
Yeah.
So I think that you add a bullet that's something to the effect of advertise and promote events, programs, and activities, and manage recreation's website.
Oh yeah, the website piece, yeah.
Oh, that's excellent, good, okay.
Madam Chair, may I point out on this topic, Julie Malik, I sit on FinCom as well, and I saw all the work that Rec did to get this position.
Yeah.
Moving forward with the collecting the data for the community, when you come for your budget next year, having those numbers is gonna be really important to show the number of people that were participating, and then having the director, the number of people, and how you're increasing, so it won't just be for telling the website. It's also gonna be an important information to help support your budget going forward too.
Good,
Yeah.
good,
So they should be keeping data on the events and number of participants, and that's a really, sorry, I can't turn all the way around, Julie, that's a really valid point. Like my neck.
And with the software, the MyRec software, that's just,
Oh, to
That
track it
was-
all
Oh,
in.
good.
Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
So
You see everyone
easy.
who signed up and how
Yep.
many people for each thing, and
it's so easy.
Nice.
Boop, boop,
and
done.
the way that the
Beautiful.
budgets are going,
Good.
that's a good idea.
I know,
Good,
That's
good.
good, yeah.
I like it.
all right. So with the,
I make a motion that we approve this.
okay,
So it can get,
with the amendments that.
with the amendments, yes, thank you.
Under discussion. I had two other items that
Oh,
we
okay,
might be
sorry.
able to add.
Yeah,
Under manage all administrative duties, I thought it might be helpful to put including preparing payroll, payables, and deposits, just so folks understand that they're dealing with money.
oh, yeah,
And-
okay. There was,
What would
The-
you do
the-
not doing that though? Do you
I
really
thought-
wanna give that up?
She's jumping for joy right now.
She's teasing.
Julie's so happy.
I just thought
where,
because
where
some,
was that gonna go?
Oh, I think that's really
under
good.
essential
Good people.
functions, the last bullet says manage all
All
administrative
administrative
duties.
Including.
Okay.
Sometimes people,
I
if you don't
love
call out that there's a financial
Yep.
piece of it, they
Yep.
go, "Oh, I've never done payroll." I mean, not that it's
Right,
going to be a
right.
big thing, but
Yeah,
you want people to know they're going to be managing
there
money.
was something about payroll on here, I
It's
thought,
just done.
or maybe that was the COA. Maybe not.
I might have missed it, but I.
Yeah. No, that's a great idea, Kristen.
Kristen's gonna sign off.
And then the only other one was under
Maybe just
education,
send it.
training, and experience. I would add our typical or any combination of experience, education, and training.
Yes, yep,
So that way you get some like rock star who just has a high school degree, but they've been doing this for 10 years. You don't want to exclude them from, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Somebody that's been a football coach or a soccer coach for a bunch of different,
Yeah.
you know.
Sure. Oh, I thought this was so it's for both. Is that what you're saying? You're saying under education, training, and experience?
So
Yeah.
that would be for the for the rec director.
Yes.
Yep.
Yep. Can you repeat that? I missed up.
I just said or any combination of experience, education, and training.
Okay, that's good. Okay, yeah, that's very
Yeah.
So that's kind of your catch-all
Yeah,
if you
that's
get the
great.
perfect candidate who
yeah.
has the experience and the training, but
Yeah.
maybe not the education or
Yeah.
vice versa.
Yeah, okay, that's good.
You don't
yeah.
wanna get locked in.
Right.
Would you take somebody who has to be certified in all of the CPF, first aid, AED, or
within
Would you accept
so many
somebody
months,
who's willing?
Yeah,
Hmm.
I would say.
We
I
did
mean,
within
that's-
6 months for
willing to be
the,
certified. Well, they might have to be,
Because they're
Mm.
not in charge of
they're not actually running, well.
the program,
Yeah,
No.
but
but they would
Oh.
have to know what would be.
Depends on if they're running the programs, right?
and I mean, you if you have kids that are say junior counselors,
Yeah.
that you're in a room with junior counselors, then you would have to be.
Mm.
I would have to be certified
it's,
in
Oh.
case that someone chokes during snack.
I'd almost
Yeah.
need the shorter period of time.
3
Yeah.
months.
Because 6 months,
Yeah,
you're doing a lot in 6 months.
right, I'd
Right.
say three,
Yeah.
3
3
months,
months.
willing to
Makes sense.
get it in 3 months because this person isn't gonna sit around for 6 months.
Right.
No,
They
but
gotta
the
get
first
working.
3 months, they're gonna be building up the
Yeah.
programming
Right.
and
Yep.
getting the budgeting all
Yep.
under control and everything, so.
We're gonna bring someone in to do one of those anyways. I just did mine again. So good, even for community people.
Yeah.
To be
Nice.
certified.
I would like to take that. Let me know when you're gonna.
She's
do it.
so good
That'd be
too.
awesome.
She's great. Yeah.
I haven't done it since like high school.
Yeah.
It's
And
been
it's different
so
now.
long.
You don't do mouth
Oh.
to mouth anymore.
Oh, I know that.
Yeah.
See?
No, it's easy.
Yeah.
You sing.
Compared
That's all I
to-
Stay
have.
alive. That's what we learned.
It's like,
She was playing it while we were
Okay, Grey's Anatomy.
Alright.
That's all I have.
Anything
Can
else on
I just
discussion?
have one question.
Yeah.
Is there a reason why we actually left committee in here versus recreation director?
Oh,
Cause they're not actually a
Oh,
committee
good
member,
point.
right?
no,
Right,
you're right.
Well, I didn't know
recreation
if it was
director.
gonna, if you were taking this over, so you'd be part of the committee and the director.
No, it's a conflict, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it can happen, but it's,
The
Then you have to go through
complicated.
that whole thing.
yeah.
It's
Right.
a pain.
Right.
All right, any other discussion?
Can I make my motion now?
Yep.
I apologize.
We will shut down.
That's all right.
Make a motion to accept the job description for the recreation director, part-time.
Seconded. All those in favor?
Yeah.
Aye. Thank
Great.
you.
Great. Thank you. This will be great. This will be great. Oh my gosh, you're so funny.
So I will, for next steps, we'll get a revised job description out to you and then, work with Dee on, advertising,
Perfect.
okay? Cause we
Alright.
gotta get it on all
As
our
amended,
places that
right?
we need to put it up,
Okay, that sounds
Yep.
great.
alright?
All right. Thank you
Good
all.
job, Julie.
Thank you.
You said that the first.
Yeah, we did. All right. So, second. So let's do the rest of the PAFs.
Okay.
Well, yeah, so that's done.
We have, Phyllis Tower, the animal control officer. There is a salary change as reflected in the FY '25 budget. Yes, as negotiated.
So is that also the same person that took over the animal inspector duties as well?
Yes. So she
Okay.
came in last year and kind of assisted us
Yeah,
in a
Yep.
more temporary capacity. And this is what it would take to have
Okay.
her in the full
great,
capacity.
yeah,
But I have to say, on the animal inspector side, she's getting about $2,000. So it's really,
Okay.
this is where the bulk of her work lies,
Alright.
is on the ACO side.
okay.
I didn't need a pen. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead, take it.
My pen just died.
No, you can go for it.
Okay.
And then we have youth services librarian Hadley Roberts. So this is going to be for hiring of a new employee.
Is that, no, that's not Sarah's, it is Sarah's position, okay.
Yes.
And she's all quarried and everything.
Yes.
Great, good.
Does she have to?
Great.
The next is my annual contractual increase. I then have 2 additional seasonal workers for highway, helping out with mowing,
Great.
maintenance, anything that needs to be done. Jack Shartner and Connor DeVoe.
That's great.
Yeah,
Good.
and so Fred actually has 3 summer workers because Mike Arata came back from last year, so he's got 3
Oh, good.
hardworking
Okay.
young men out there doing a good job. So,
Great.
and I am pleased to report that we now have an assistant treasurer collector,
Okay.
Sergio Navarro. He started late June, I believe,
Yeah, I think so.
and has
Oh, I
been
should
doing
introduce
a
myself.
fantastic
Yeah,
job. He comes
good.
from the banking industry.
Yeah, nice.
About 10 years, I think, of experience in, or 8 years in banking, and is just
Great.
fast and picking things up like you would
Nice.
not believe. So
Beautiful.
really happy to have him.
He's a great guy.
Yeah, just good personality, hard worker.
After we yelled at Kathy, we probably shouldn't stop and introduce her.
Yeah, I know. We
be
should.
afraid of
Yeah.
Or
us.
maybe
No.
you should to change the tone.
Yeah. Okay.
We have, let's see, these are police, the rest of these I think are police annual step increases. So we have David Goulding, Alex Lima, Thomas McDonald. Thomas McDonald and Alex Lima have come off of their ride-along
Oh,
period
good.
and are now full-time.
Beautiful.
And from every account, they are doing a phenomenal job.
Great.
And everyone's really happy to have them.
Okay.
They've got a great attitude and,
Yep.
just good all
Yep.
around guys. And then Dean Belleville and Tim Andre. And those are the
So,
anniversary step
5
increases.
of those all
Yep.
together. All right.
And that's it on that.
I'd like to see.
Yep, 5. Okay, good. All right. Well, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the PAS as presented.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor?
I have one.
Great.
Inside my dinosaur.
I love that bag. Did you just say the same thing? It like registered after.
It made me smile.
That's awesome.
All right.
That's yours.
The next item on the agenda, we'll move forward, but we can sign in the meantime, is the COA job description.
Good, because I have a little bit of talking to do, if I may. This is a revised version. There's
Okay.
a couple of small updates that are in track changes based on the meeting I had this afternoon with the Council on Aging.
Okay.
The Council on Aging did vote unanimously to support approval of this job description this afternoon. I have been honestly kicking this around and talking to anybody who will listen to me for 2 months on this because I didn't see a clear path forward, as I often
Yeah.
see with most positions.
Yep.
So I put my feelers out there and I met with a lot of people between Council on Aging, 19 Carter, Neshoba Neighbors. I actually met with the chiefs because, as you recall, this position is a hybrid COA
Yeah.
social services
Yeah.
position. Peggy Sardell has been volunteering to fill in for the position and she's doing a phenomenal job and I can't thank her enough. I'm just afraid we're like gonna burn her out.
Right.
But I am, I feel good about this and it's taken a lot of time and a lot of thought. Bob Blair and I had a conversation earlier this week where we arrived at the recommendation that we do a full-time COA director. And I will explain why. If we look at the fact that we have such a growing senior population and aging in place is such an issue and the need is really on the senior side, plus we haven't really been proactive, we've been more reactive and we haven't done as much outreach, I don't think, to the community and the groups in the communities that we should, and in the sense of collaboration with Neshoba Neighbors, 19 Carter, you name it, food pantry, thrift shop. I see this position as really being someone who could take the initiative, and it would have to be the right person that could build this up and work with local senior centers to either replicate or allow our seniors to go to those programs, go out and assess what the needs of seniors are, meeting with folks up at Northbrook and other places to find out what they're looking for, help design and develop new programming built around what those needs are, and also do some of the case management side of the shop, plus helping them with applications for whatever services they might need, doing referrals. But I really feel like building collaboration and communication amongst everything we have going on to avoid duplication of efforts is really critical at this point. And so I see this as a very different position than what it was before. And the reason I feel comfortable removing the social services aspect from it is Chief Shartner has applied for a regional grant. It's called a JDP, it's a jail diversion program. They are licensed mental health social work counselors. Sorry, I said that together. They are licensed social workers who address mental health issues in the community. And I feel that it's a regional grant. Chief's at like 90% sure we're gonna get it, and he believes it could get up and running in November. If there is a little bit of a gap between referrals that a COA director can do and those types of social service referrals or case management that a JDP worker could do, we could potentially look at, do we have an on-call consultant? But I have to say, a lot of the social services work that was being done was referrals. And I feel like we really, could capture that between those two resources. So I looked at probably 15 different COA job descriptions. The Council on Aging went out and met with different local COAs and different communities. And I've put this together. There's a couple of little minor changes to it from what the COA proposed. But I feel that there is certainly more than enough work for someone, the right person, to build this program up. So I'll get off my soapbox now.
Might want to stay there.
Okay, I'll stay.
I'm having difficulty with this one.
Okay. I was too, so I get it.
I'm having real difficulty. First of all, surrounding towns, they don't have full-time COA. Berlin's smaller.
A lot of them have other staff though, like they have multiple part-time staff.
But still, and I have a really hard time with us creating a position full-time when we never ever got numbers. I feel like the 35%, like you just said, we have this rising population. To me, it is almost getting to the point of being scare tactics. Because I feel like we've heard that. The population's getting larger. We need this help. But then when you go out, and I admit it, I've gone out and talked to 10 people, and they've talked to 10 people. Nobody used those services. And when we did finally get some numbers last year, we spent $30,000 of our ARPA money. And you told me in a meeting that we learned that it was 35% and we got the digital literacy for 15 people max.
It's true.
And I feel like we're really putting the cart before the horse here. We've got to get some numbers and know what is really needed in the community. I really.
Did Bob have any information on numbers in the community at all when you met with him, Bob Blair, and that?
I mean, other than the information that Victoria had provided and the fact that Victoria had said most of her time was spent on the COA side of the shop to the COA.
Yeah.
And, the fact that I really think the position needed to be redesigned, that it's not effective necessarily in its current form, and it's not a proactive position as it's currently designed. There's just only really anecdotal data at this point, because it was really a reactive kind of continuity, I think, of the status quo. I think that there is some information that can be gleaned from that study. I'm not an enormous fan of studies. This was something that was underway when I started.
Yeah.
I do think that there are sometimes more effective ways to go about getting that data and information. And obviously people have different perspectives and opinions on that, and I don't want to, say one to the other, but I don't know that the path that we were on is necessarily the path that would be the most effective for the community. And I do see that there is the need. Has it been adequately documented to this point? I don't think so, but I don't think that negates the need. I believe it's still there.
So what would be the difference between what the job was with Victoria in it versus this new job? I just didn't get the sense that there was that she was extremely busy, but I'm only here once in a while. I don't, and I hadn't sat down and talked with her at all about, how much work she had on her plate and everything, where everybody's different. So I'm trying to get an idea of what the difference is.
So the things that I would add, first and foremost, are getting out far more into the community. And I understand that in the past there has been, some concerns about, how do we work with other groups in the community, and do we develop these services ourselves, or do we collaborate? I'm more of the latter opinion, that if you have an existing service, it doesn't make sense to duplicate that effort on our own. I really think that we should be out there collaborating. Yes, there's a line. I mean, obviously you're not going to work at the food pantry necessarily, or work at 19 Carter, but you're going to go to events. You're going to have hours perhaps that are there.
Right.
You're going to meet with people. You're going to go to town events. You're going to build those relationships on a state and regional level with our local officials, so that you can get grants, you can get funding.
Yeah.
I just see the idea of being able to, there's the relationship building part. And one of the things I really like, and I have to give Evie the credit for this bullet, it's the last bullet on the first page. Convene monthly meetings with groups that serve seniors in Berlin to discuss current issues, anticipated needs, and foster collaboration with regards to programs and services to avoid redundancies. I genuinely believe we can take better advantage of what's already out there. But I think that requires someone to kind of coordinate and help kind of oversee the umbrella. And I see this position kind of being able to bring everybody together and have those conversations. And that was a piece that, when I met with Evie and Kate Bliss, that they felt was really missing, and that they really wanted to see in the next director. I also think applying for more grants can be done, and then you have the programming piece, which I feel like, why recreate the wheel? We've got to go out, we've got to see what other COAs are doing. We either can send some of our folks there, and then that's a great way to start, because a lot of these senior centers will allow folks from out of town to come. And then if it's a program that grows in popularity, you either bring it in-house, or you do something similar in-house, and you build up your local programming here by going out and constantly meeting with seniors and talking to them about what their needs are. I mean, there's so many things that we could be doing. Tax prep. I mean, they're health checks. There's just a myriad of things that I've seen before in previous lives that I think we could be bringing here. But I think when that position was stretched between both of those, the social services and the COA, it made it a little hard to focus on where the population was and what the services were. I mean, the other thing I see is we need a robust website that we don't have right now, which I think would be, really, really key to have. And also, I think the COA needs some direction and guidance. I heard that from the COA loud and clear, that they want to be more involved, but they want to understand what their roles and responsibilities are.
Right.
And they want to be part of the process. Obviously, they're an advisory board, and they understand that, but they haven't really been much involved in the budgeting process up until this point, and they kind of aren't sure what their role should be. And I think we can foster some improved communication and collaboration there as well. So I hear you, because I know it's hard to move without data.
So many, there's no data at all. Where's the money coming from to pay this person?
We have it in the budget already for
How?
FY25.
No, we don't. And FinCom's raising their hand behind you.
So
Well, I have a concern because I've followed.
Go ahead, Julie.
I'm sorry.
That's
Tricia.
okay, Julie.
Because I've followed the changes in this position over the last few years. And I understand exactly what Kristen is saying, and I think she's hit the nail on the head, is there's never been a clear definition of the role. But my concern was, we kind of voted for a half-time COA director, a half-time social services. Now you're saying that we've found a way to fund social services differently. Eric has that. I don't think that means we should suddenly jump and make that a full-time COA director position without a lot more thought. Because the other thing that had come up last year, but again, we didn't have the numbers, was where we were gonna need additional social services. I mean, we're thinking like going forward. So I think these are valid points, but it sounds like you're trying to bring somebody in full-time, and you're describing a director who's also gonna be a coordinator. And if you really wanna go that way, I would be much more comfortable, if we're gonna go back to the taxpayers, if we spent a lot more time fine-tuning what that role is and what you actually need, rather than saying we're gonna hire somebody full-time, and they'll sort it out for us and tell us what the role is, which is what I'm kind of hearing in this description, is that this person will then define this role. Because it has been an issue, because we had half-time, and then that person had another job unrelated to being the COA director in town, and then she left, and then his previous COA director eventually was also added on to be a social services to have a full-time role. So it's never been really clear if that COA director was a half-time role, because that person, we've kind of had a history of, we filled out their hours by giving them another role in the town so they could have a full-time job.
Have we talked with other COAs from other towns?
The COA members each went out and talked to other communities, and they said that nobody has one 40-hour-a-week position. It's all either multiple staff, multiple combinations of part-time staff. So, after having those conversations and mapping things out through the essential functions as I did here, I do feel that we've given a framework for how the position would work, and a direction and guidance on what they would do, which I would start with working with other COA directors and helping to, build the program that way. It would have to be somebody who can take initiative. The personality is key.
Right.
The collaboration, the communication pieces are key there too. I initially started by thinking of this perhaps as more of a 25 or 30 hour a week position, but then when I added in more things, that's when I got up to 40 hours.
I'd feel better if we were talking 25 or 30 to get started.
Right.
I'm just, justification for this, how many of the surveys did they get back?
For
COA that came in the Powderhouse News. How many of those surveys came back?
Are you talking about the
surveys that just were sent out a month ago, 2 months ago in Powderhouse News on the needs, what seniors wanted to see?
I don't believe many. I can get that information. I don't
But
have the
that's-
number, but
I'm just having a hard time with the participation from town residents.
Okay, right.
I've heard,
I hear you.
it's 35%, we have all this extra need. I'm in the food pantry and I see the need, it's not all seniors, we have a lot of younger families that have needs. And I'm just,
Even with the tax piece as well, I know two of my family members, they go to two other Senior, Hudson Senior Center and Clinton Senior Center to have their taxes done for them, free of charge. And if that's something that Berlin's, I mean, how many people would we get if people are already have relationships with the other towns?
Yeah, I mean, I
Already.
feel bad because both, I've seen the COA directors previously think they're getting great programs together and nobody comes. They don't get, so I'm just having a really hard time with this as a full-time position.
I think that, okay, so let me step back for a moment in terms of talking about it if we're going back to COA and social services. I think they need to be broken apart.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Okay.
But
I
that
agree.
was only.
I agree with that, definitely.
Social services only came out of sheer necessity. It was during COVID.
Yeah.
Yep.
They needed someone. We had this person that had the certification
Right.
to go and do it.
I think you're limiting yourself very much on the COA side by requiring that position to be
Absolutely.
a licensed social worker, and I think you could get somebody who may be more geared towards COA if you don't require the licensed social
Absolutely.
worker
Right,
piece.
oh yeah, I
Okay,
agree.
so I guess I want to step back to basics and make sure we were on the same
No,
page
that
with
way-
regard to that.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
just, I need real convincing to go full-time on this right now. Because I'm not seeing, people can tell me that they have all this, need, but nobody can show me a number.
Yeah.
And you've got to have that. People need it. Our taxes are going up like crazy, and now, here's another full-time position.
How many hours did the, Victoria did 24 and 16, right?
19 and 21.
Oh, 19 and 21. The person before, I'm sorry, I can't remember her
Holly.
name.
19,
Polly.
I believe. Because
Yeah.
that was a
And
non-benefited.
that wasn't enough. That wasn't enough hours.
Yeah, but
for-
she also
for
had two
Holly.
positions.
Right.
She
She did the town hall
town hall and
and
COA.
this.
I really think that if we keep this at 19 hours for
No,
COA,
that,
it's not enough.
I think it's gotta be more than 19.
And I think it needs to be a
I-
benefited
yeah,
position.
it
More
needs to be
than, but not a
benefited,
40 hour.
absolutely.
We can't.
Absolutely, I believe it should be benefited.
And someone needs to figure out, get them in here, and if they can sit down and then show us the need,
Mm-hmm.
fine. But right now, I'm not seeing it. Victoria sat there and told people. I've got 5 people that come in. We had at FinCom meeting, when she went and, presented things, you had FinCom members saying, I don't even know what that woman does in town. And this was a senior citizen member. Nobody knows. There's nothing out there.
Well, if you started with, and I would push a little closer to 30 personally, but if you started there, that would leave funding for the other thought that I had, which was some type of licensed social worker who perhaps has their own practice. A lot of them do telehealth now. They work from home, they make their appointments, that we could have on call during the day, perhaps, for issues that arise that need referral services, rather than bringing on an employee to do those services.
I think you need to go. I just want you to go and talk to legal on that. We're not clinical. This is a municipal town.
Right.
And now you're crossing the line into, which is starting to bother me with some of the presentations about the social service part. We shouldn't be offering therapy. We don't have that.
Oh, not therapy. I didn't mean therapy. I meant for referrals.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't be clear. I meant like those people who are therapists that are looking to add additional work, but not therapy work, but like municipal work where you would do referrals,
That's,
crisis, referral management type of
we
type
heard
of
things
deal.
previously, maybe I want to reach out to younger people, and I started to get a little nervous that everything was getting a little clinical there. And we can't do that.
No. And that's one of the reasons too that I did feel comfortable, given the volume of work as outlined here, along with the JDP. I did feel comfortable that we were covered on the social services.
Concom has a 7 o'clock meeting starting.
Oh,
Yeah, they're waiting to get into the room.
Okay,
okay. Do we
so
wanna move
7
on?
o'clock will come in a few minutes. Okay,
We could move to another room.
yeah.
Can we relocate?
Roger.
We have a few more things to discuss.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not, it doesn't
yeah,
have to be
sorry, I thought we'd be
taped.
done.
We
I
can-
know, it's a lot of information.
We can relocate.
Do you have to say where you're going?
Yes,
Legally? Yes.
Okay.
doesn't have to be filmed,
So
but you do
we're-
have to say what you're
We're
doing.
adjourning the meeting.
No, we're not
for-
adjourning.
No.
We're just moving the meeting.
Okay, we're temporarily moving the meeting to room
227?
227.